Welcome back to Voices from Lichfield District. Today we have a special episode dedicated to Lichfield Proms in Beacon Park, which returns for its 25th anniversary on Saturday the 7th of September. We have a bumper lineup for you on this episode. Joining us are Lichfield District Council's Events Manager, Louise Lewis, the charismatic compere of the British Police Symphony Orchestra, Danny Mizon, and the Managing Director of Zest Education, Scott Barker, who are the event's platinum sponsors. Get ready to dive into all things Lichfield Proms as we explore this fantastic event from different perspectives. Let's get started.
So our first guest on today's podcast is the events manager from Lichfield District Council and the event manager for Lichfield Proms in Beacon Park, Louise Lewis. So welcome, Lou.
Hi there, George.
How are you doing?
Good, thank you. All good.
Fantastic. Are you looking forward to Proms?
Yes, can't wait. Just over a week away now, so yeah, looking forward to it. I think we're ready.
I'm sure you are. I've seen all the hard work that's gone in behind the scenes for it. So could you give the listeners a bit of background on how much work does actually go into setting up the Proms? Like when does the planning for the next year's event start, and like how big's the team, etc.?
Yeah, so Lichfield Proms really is a year in the planning. As soon as each event finishes, we hold a debrief meeting just to see what improvements we can make for the following year, get a date in the diary and start the planning process. We then work on booking the performers, securing the orchestra and all of the supplies that make the event happen, such as stage, sound, lighting, security and first aid. So we know they're in place for next year. And then to make the event free to attend, we need to attract support from sponsors and grant providers. So we start work really early to attract that funding too. And then the weeks leading up to Proms are particularly busy. This is when we start crossing the T's and dotting the I's, making sure that nothing's missed and all the fine details that make the event a success are brought together. And there is a big team that does this. We all work together with their various areas of expertise to make it happen. So then Proms Day itself is a long day when we set up the tables and the chairs for the prime seating, put out signage, set up the merchandise area, and then when sound checks take place and rehearsals happen before the event opens. It doesn't finish there. When the event is over, our work continues. We take everything down, pack everything away, litter pick, ready for the park to be open to public the next morning.
Yeah, it sounds a hell of a job. So how many people will be working on the actual event this year from LDC in terms of obviously staff? And I imagine there's volunteers on the evening as well.
Yeah, it's quite a small team considering we've got the core parks team who have their day-to-day jobs too, but they all get involved in the organising and the working of the event on the day. So we've probably got about 15 core staff. We've also got expertise from our marketing department and our comms department, health and safety, and then, like you say, a core volunteer base where we go out to our colleagues in Lichfield Council and ask for their support on the day as well. So a fairly big team on the day itself, and then a sort of core team that plans it on the run up to the event.
Yeah, fantastic. So it sounds like everyone really pulls in a shift to get Lichfield Proms in Beacon Park going.
Definitely.
So my original question was going to be like, what does a usual Proms night look for you? But I suppose what might be more relevant, but what does a Proms week look like for you? Like from like when does obviously, because I can't imagine it's all just set up on the Saturday. Like what does it look like that week leading in, and then how does the day shape for you?
So the event starts loading in the week before. So we have the stage to come in, the marquees. We have first aid on standby that come in on the day before. So there's a whole schedule of operators and providers that come into the park on the days leading up to the event. But it really is the event day itself where so much has to happen very quickly. So we have an early start on that day, just to bring everything together once the stage itself has been built and that the sound systems and lighting are in place.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen on the day, obviously, like the amount of work that goes into it from the guys, and like you say, like it's a real sort of team effort to get it there. So, sort of going in a different direction, what do you think makes Lichfield Proms such a special event?
So, Lichfield Proms is unique. It's Lichfield District's own free annual concert. It takes place every year on the first Saturday in September. So people begin to expect its arrival, start looking forward to it as the summer ends. It's a real community event. It brings together thousands of people each year from across the region, and you enjoy an evening of music, picnicking with family and friends, and then there's a firework finale at the end. And I think what's so special is it is open and accessible to everyone, and everyone's welcome at this event. And I guess this year it's particularly special as it's our 25th anniversary also.
Yeah, that was going to be one of my next points about the 25th anniversary. So it's, like I say, it's very well established in the Lichfield community's calendar. Had you attended Proms before working it?
Yeah, so I've lived in Lichfield for too many years. I've lived for over 30 years, and Proms for me as a resident was always there in the calendar, something that we'd planned towards, plan our picnics, plan which friends we were going with. So it's lovely now to be sort of sitting on the other side and delivering the event, but still one very close to my heart.
Yeah, I can imagine. It must be nice seeing like both sides of it. I mean, which side do you prefer when you used to go just as a resident, or do you like being in the thick of it from the...
Well, I think the going as a resident is certainly the less stressful side of it, the most enjoyable. And sort of being on the other side and organising it, it's what is rewarding is you are delivering it. You're seeing all the smiling faces and people enjoying it, and knowing what it's like to have been one of those people in the audience makes it even more special.
Yeah, it must be incredibly rewarding once the event's sort of done and dusted. Because I can imagine with how much is going on the day, do you actually get a chance to sort of take a step back and take it all in, or is it very much just all focused on delivering for the residents?
Yes, that normally happens after the event when you sort of look back and reflect. And I'd like to say that I sit back and enjoy the evening, but it's so important on the night to be making sure everything's running smoothly and to plan. But most importantly, that everyone's having a good time, and it's great to look into the crowds and see all the happy faces and know that all that hard work has been worth it. And as people are leaving, the sort of the great comments that you get when people are leaving the event at the end of the night. So, and that's when I can sit back and reflect and really enjoy the event, which is quite strangely after the event.
Yeah, like I say, with the amount of work going on, it'd be difficult to sort of embrace it at the time. So what can the residents of Lichfield expect from Lichfield Proms in Beacon Park this year?
Okay, well, you can expect to enjoy an evening of music, traditional music. You can enjoy your picnics, or you can bring your own food and drink, or one of the bars or food concessions you can purchase it from. You can enjoy the firework finale at the end. So the car park, you can start arriving from 5 p.m. So you can drive in and park, but please walk in if you can. You can enjoy the food and beverage concessions, which open at 5:30, along with the children's fun fair. Then the music starts at 6. So an evening of music with the finale of the fireworks at 9:45. So an evening packed with fun.
Fantastic. That sounds great. So you've mentioned before it's an accessible event for everybody, but there is a prime seating option available. What are the details of that?
So yes, prime seating. So that if you just turn up on the day, that's absolutely fine. You bring your own picnic, bring a blanket. Some people book gazebo pitches, but the prime seating gives you a good viewing area, tables and chairs. Lots of people walk in with their decorations for that table, buckets of Prosecco and beers. But you can visit the website for more details, and you've still got a chance to book that. You can also head over to the merchandise tent when you arrive and purchase your programmes, your Union Jack attire. and of course the lighty up things to wave to the music when it gets dark.
Fantastic. And I will include a link to the prime seating in the show notes as well, in case anybody listening is interested in booking onto those. Fantastic. Well, thank you for your time, Lou. Just before we wrap up, have you got any words for the residents of Lichfield before attending?
Just really to thank everyone for continuing to support the event, and by attending really does do that. We also ask for donations to help keep the event going on the day, and really just look forward to another great evening on the 7th of September and hope to see you there.
So our next guest on today's show is one of the more memorable faces of Lichfield Proms in Beacon Park, and you compare to the evening. You'll hear him on the night entertaining the crowd and encouraging the waving of lighty uppy things. Welcome to the show, Danny Misen. How are you, Danny?
Hello, George. Great to be here. Thanks for asking me on.
No problem at all. It's a pleasure to have you on. So we'll dive straight in then. Can you tell us a bit about the relationship between the BPSO and Lichfield Proms in Beacon Park?
Yeah, I mean, it's been going on for years. I mean, within the first few years of Lichfield Proms, one of the key individuals that we've got of the face of the Proms at the time was Anne Mayo, and she was a big fan of the police orchestra. And so within about 3 or 4 years, Anne got in touch with us directly and asked us if we would consider coming to do the event. And at that time, the event was bringing in about 3,000 people, maybe. So a sort of medium-sized but very successful event. And we carried on in that way for a number of years. And so we were booked to come and headline. And it was great fun. We all really enjoyed it. And then we got to the point of getting to the end of almost when the curtain went down at the end of the year, and we were booked for the next year. So we seemed to be quite popular. And then after a number of years and going through a number of different compares, I was asked by Lichfield District Council on the organisers, if I would consider doing it. I'd moved from my position at the back of the orchestra as principal of the percussion section at that point to the front, and was comparing other events, and they had asked me if I would be prepared to do it. And it was a great honour, and I think that must have been about 11 years ago, maybe 12 years ago now. And I was invited to do it, and I've never looked back. It's one of the highlights of my year. And I've managed to do it for my last 10 years of policing service. So I was there doing my bit in uniform, and then I retired, and I gave them the option of finding someone else, but they asked me to come back again. So effectively, there is no escape, and I'm there. Looks like I'm there for quite a while yet to come.
You must be doing something right then.
Well, I hope so.
Yeah.
You know, my material is all out there in the audience, but they seem to like what we do. There's no individual in the orchestra. We come as a package, and so we work as a team up there to bring people a really great night, and we love it. We really enjoy coming to Lichfield in September.
Yeah. So what was can you remember what was the first year you were sort of involved? Because I've had the luxury of seeing the programme being put together this year. I noticed it was 1999, was it, that you took up your position with the orchestra? So what was?
So I came to the orchestra in 1999 as a percussionist, and I think one of our first years doing Lichfield must have been about sort of 2003, 2004 time. You know, one of our regular gigs is Symphony Hall in Birmingham each December, first weekend of December. And we do our Proms Night Spectacular there. And Anne used to bring a busload of people from Lichfield over to come and watch us. And then the conversations began after that. She was an avid supporter, and then came to us and said, I run a small event in Lichfield. Would you like to come and play for it? And the rest is history.
No, not so small now, I'd say. I think it's
not
great.
So small. Yeah. No, not so small indeed. You know, I've got a real privilege of standing there and addressing the audience right from the outset. And so before the light goes over the evening, there's sort of 20 minutes, half an hour where I can see out of the entire audience. And years ago, you could see bits of green. You could see the parts of the park which were green, but now they're covered in people. And we've gone from when we started doing it, an event of, say, I think about 3,000 people on average. So we're estimating anything up to 15,000 people.
Yeah.
So you could say it's quite daunting standing up there, but it's so exciting.
Yeah.
It's so exciting. It really is.
Get a thrill out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the key things that we insisted upon when I started comparing it was to engage the audience and for the people of Lichfield to really own their own event. So we brought in the introduction of talking to us directly on social media, talking to us on Twitter, talking to us on Facebook. And so the audience could speak to us, could ask questions, send us messages. And now, through that, using those platforms, they've become an absolutely integral part of the event. It's great fun. And I come off the stage between numbers and I quickly read the messages that are coming in so thick and fast. But I try and get through them all the various shout outs, the congratulations and birthdays and the various important messages that need to go out. And we really feel, and the feedback we get is that our audience really feel part of the event.
Yeah, so would you say that's like one of the things that makes Lichfield Proms in the Park such a special event? Or
I think so. It's the only event that we do. It's the only event I've ever done like this where there is such interaction between the audience and the orchestra. No other venue would allow that to happen. I don't think logistically it could happen anyway. I mean, and Lynn Hammond who's the organizer now, and would agree with me on the discussion that we had before. They were quite nervous about me doing the social media thing. Spent time, talked to them, brought them on board. Nervously, they allowed me to do it, and it's been a great success. It's been really good, absolutely unique.
Yeah, I mean, with us guys working, that is one of the impressions you get, like that sort of back and forth between yourself and the crowd. It really does add to the atmosphere of the evening.
It's great fun. It really is, and I can talk about some of the most memorable occasions that we've had. We've seen people grow up during this time. See it always amazes me how many people are new to the event, but also how many people come back to the event as well. So year after year, you see the same people, and over the sort of, goodness me, nearly 20 years that we've been doing this, people have grown up with us for this event, and they come and talk to us, and they, particularly now, because, I've become sort of the front facing of the orchestra. And people come and talk to me at the front, and they say they'll be coming 10, 15 years, 20 years. It's just amazing. So, yeah, they've grown up. They've certainly seen me retire from my former career as a police officer, stepping into Civvy Street. And they've been with me through this.
Yeah.
So it's really special. Yeah, really special.
Do you recognise some of the faces? Like, when people come up to you? Yeah.
Definitely. There's a couple of ladies who always come and have their photo taken with me, which is superb, and I love that. And the running joke is that the number of selfies was getting a bit ridiculous a few years ago. That was kind of, because 20 years ago people weren't really doing selfies that much, but now it's a thing. And wanted selfies with us, and so Lynn and the organisers arranged for selfie frames to be made of me, so more people can be taken of their photo taken of me at the front, which is great fun. And of course, you see one of the great things is the commitment year on year from the sponsors to the event. And from large businesses all the way down to small local businesses who realise the importance of supporting such an event like this, and seeing them there in the front area with the tables. It's just spectacular. And there's also seems to become an almost like unwritten competition about who's got the best table decorations, or who brings who sets up the best camp. To get myself in the mood, or to get myself in the zone, if you like, before the show starts, I go for a walk. And I go for a walk in the crowd, and I go around all the tents and talk to people, and it really gets you going. It's lovely to be recognised out there, which is great fun. But you can sit and we can talk, and it really gets myself and the orchestra right in the mood, ready for the gig. But to see some of the setups they've got, I mean, I remember years ago, we'd have half a dozen gazebos at the back, right, on that first little ledge. And now there's 2 rows coming in the full width, and they have to book them almost a year in advance to be able to get a spot. So we see inflatable furniture, we see, big table decorations. It's absolutely incredible. Huge food spreads coming up. And I'm all. Sorry, go.
I was just thinking to the prime seating area, like the nations that people bring.
They spend hours on it. Yeah. They spend hours, but they have just as much fun as the people that come and just sit down and enjoy themselves with a picnic blanket. You do get people who pitch up early afternoons in their deck chairs, in just 2 deck chairs, just a couple, and they got their cool box with them, and they'll sit there from 2 o'clock because they've got a great spot right next to the sound booth, so they got a really good eye on the stage, and everyone has just equal amounts of fun. And I also make sure I take a walk out during the interval as well and talk to people, and also afterwards, and you can just see how special they treat this event. It's the highlight of the year. They get friends travelling from all parts of the country coming to visit. It's super. Really is great fun.
Yeah, you can just feel the excitement on the night, can't you?
Yeah, very much so.
Builds up early, doesn't it? And then
it does, And we've got really, really special things like the City of Lichfield concert band as well, doing the hour or so before up. And we love listening to them. They're a fantastic group of musicians who really get the crowd going and have just as much fun as we do when we go in there. And the audience is so appreciative. You can see the audience is so appreciative of what they do and the talent that they've got in their hometown, being able to entertain them like that.
Yeah, they are fantastic as well. Like I say, people that are there early on, they're enjoying both parts of the show.
Mm-hmm.
So what can residents expect from the BPSO on the night of the event?
Great music, great entertainment, and certainly full interaction with the orchestra as always. I always look forward to trying to work out what the best bit of interaction with the audience is going to be. I remember when we played Star Trek, the theme from Star Trek, the medley from Star Trek a couple of years ago maybe, and within 20 minutes or so, someone out in the audience had managed to do something clever on a phone or an iPad or whatever, and taken images of us with the Starship Enterprise flying across to the top of the stage. And how people manage to do that is just incredible. And there's always highlights within those shout outs as well. I think one of the most memorable occasions for me is we had more than one over the years, but the first one was a proposal of marriage. So I got a proposal. The guy came to the stage and said, "Can I do this?" And I said, you can't come on the stage, but I'll do it for you. So I can't remember their names now. It was several years ago. Yeah. But calling out, and they were in one of the gazebos at the back. Said, "Will you marry me?" And of course, well, it's not me. It's your boyfriend. But the proposal, and you heard this lone yes at the top of her voice coming from the back there, and the whole place erupted. Scroll on a year forward to the following year, and they got married on that day and had their wedding reception there. And I know they come back every year, and there's just moments like that for both the orchestra and the crowd are just exceptional. Really good. Makes it really, really special for us.
Yeah, it's incredible, isn't it? That it's just like a full, well-rounded story. It's incredible.
Absolutely, yeah.
I don't think you get that anywhere else, really.
Right.
So what does a usual proms night look like for you in the BPSO?
So for us, we're rehearsing in the afternoon. So you'll know that the orchestra is drawn from across the police force areas of the UK. So the orchestra are made up of serving police officers and police staff and retired police officers and police staff, and what we would describe as the extended police family. We've got a number of generations of family that are represented within the orchestra, and we come from the four corners of the country. So that day is a travel day for us. Personally, I live on the south coast, so I have to travel up. And whilst I'm in the car, I'm sort of going through my mind what I'm going to say to the audience, although they generally write my material for me when I come to Lichfield, which is wonderful. And then the guys arrive during the day, set up, and then it's rehearsal time. The orchestra meet about once every 5 weeks or so at a couple of different locations around the country for a rehearsal weekend. And we perform, say, 4 or 5 times a year, including one of those being Lichfield, of course. So, rehearsal is important. We want to put on a good show. So we need to tighten up on everything, blow the cobwebs out, but not blow ourselves into oblivion so that we can't perform on the evening. So that rehearsal time is absolutely critical for that. But what we've seen over the recent years is more and more people coming to those rehearsals in the afternoon, and more crowds sort of turning up in the afternoon. And we also, it's sound check time for us as well. So we got our regular sound team are there, and so they hear us doing all the rehearsals. They hear me sound checking. I'm ashamed to say that when a couple of years ago, a great friend of ours who works at the National Arboretum, Ange, she sent me a text message, regular visitor to the Proms, sent me a text message. She said, I'm in Sainsbury's a mile away from Beacon Park and I can hear you. So they're thinking, well, we've got to be getting something right. So, it's all the preparation and just getting into the mood for it. We love to spend time with our partners, from the other partners that come and help, the volunteers, so Lichfield Concert Band, everyone else, and of course our audience. And so you'll see a lot of the orchestra going into the audience as they start to arrive and chatting to them, and people come up to people they see walking around with instruments. And it's just one of those unique interactive events, which is great fun right from the setup all the way to when the fireworks come down right at the very end.
Yeah, well, I think you've sold it perfectly. I mean, if anyone was and ahhing about attending, I think they just need to play this last.
I've been trying to describe this to my colleagues for years as I've been doing it, and it's really difficult to articulate the sheer scale of what we're talking about here and how exciting it is. And I'm very lucky, very privileged to hold that front and center position where I get to speak to the audience direct, and I always describe it as I'm here to look after the audience, and that's my job for the night. I'm here to keep them entertained, here to keep them safe, and make sure everyone goes home safely and has had a great night. And I see that as a real privilege for me. It's got to the end of each event now, before I'm sure where the fireworks have even landed somewhere, where I'm asked to do next year's event, and I'm sure they do it deliberately when I'm on an absolute high, and of course I'm going to say, yes. Of course,
yeah, strike while the iron's hot.
Absolutely, and I remember very personal to me was my transition from being a police officer into my next career, and I don't wear uniform anymore, but Lichfield was that first opportunity when I transitioned out of my police uniform, and to be accepted, if you like, by an audience who'd seen me in uniform for the previous 10 years as the compere known as PC Danny. I'm now the compere formerly known as PC Danny. But they've been so welcoming and accepting. That was a particularly special year for me. That would have been September 22, the first time I did that. Yeah.
So keeping on that sort of theme, then. So, do you have any other sort of highlights that stand out from the years that you've done it? Because I appreciate there's like we've already mentioned, it's been synonymous with proms for so many years now. Is there anything that really jumps out to you?
Do you know, it's the look on people's faces that really make it, particularly the organisers. There's a look of desperation, of relief sometimes when you get to the end and it's all gone okay. And there's celebrating people's really special birthdays as they come through. There's the relationships that we've built up with individuals and families over the years. There's just so many to mention. I remember there's one of my bits of legacy is the lighty uppy things. I remember the very first year that I was at the front, and Lynn and the organisers presented me with this bucket of stuff. She said, "You've got to present it. You've got to push this so the guys go out and sell it." Great. I didn't know what to call them. And it was just one of those sort of silly things. And I says, and don't forget to buy your flags and your programs. And I looked at these and I don't know what they're called. So I said, and the lighty uppy things. And it's just stuck now. And it's almost become an obligatory introduction to the evening. When we're introducing the various bits, the safety areas, safety briefing and all, introducing the orchestra. And of course, people really look forward to talking about the lighty uppy things, and they're having to buy more now and people turn up with them, and it's really special, lighty uppy things. I remember one year it became a hashtag on Twitter at one point, lighty uppy things, and it gets a little bit out of control. But that was just because I couldn't think what to call them, but it just kind of stuck. So yeah.
They are a bestseller at the and people do 100% refer to them as a lighty uppy thing.
I know. It's just I'm sorry for that, but I don't. It seems to be my fault that we've got it to that point. But you see kids who are so excited to come up and show me their lighty uppy thing because they've seen me on the screens at the side of the stage, and as I start to walk around, they recognise me and they're desperate to show me their lighty uppy thing. I'm sure I'm not that popular with the parents who have to buy a continuous flow of these things.
Yes.
But they have become an absolutely integral part of the event. Really have.
No, like I say, they really are. No, fantastic. Like the view of like you said, once the sun's gone down and the lights are in full effect, swinging from side to side.
Well, again, I can ask the desk to turn the lights down for me so we can get to see them, and people love it. It's like just safe fireworks that are going off right in amongst the crowd, and and also seeing the pictures posted on social media of the event, and just seeing like those little pockets of families and how much they're enjoying them. Yeah, it's great. Really look forward to it.
No, that's fantastic. I really appreciate you taking your time out of your day and coming on to join us. So just finally, before I let you go, have you got any words pre-proms for the residents of Lichfield?
People of Lichfield, we're coming again. We can't wait to see you in 2 weeks' time. It's going to be an absolutely superb event. So I've been watching the organisational emails, going backwards and forwards. It's certainly special, very special for me. And I know it's very special for the orchestra, and we can't wait to see it.
Fantastic. And remember to buy your lighty uppy things as well.
Yeah, don't forget your lighty uppy things. Yeah. And to all the parents of small children, I'm really sorry, but I'm not going to change it.
Fantastic. Again, thank you for your time, Danny. That's brilliant.
Absolute pleasure. Absolute pleasure. Look forward to seeing everyone in a couple of weeks' time.
Lovely. Thank you.
Cheers.
So our next guest on Voices from Lichfield District podcast is the Managing Director of Zest Education. So Zest Education are the platinum sponsor for this year's Proms in Lichfield, Proms in Beacon Park. They're returning for their third year as a sponsor and the second as a platinum sponsor. So without further ado, let me please welcome Managing Director Scott Barker to the podcast. Scott, how are you doing?
Yeah, good, thank you. Thanks for having me on the show. It's a privilege to be here. Thank you.
No problem at all. It's lovely to have you on. So I'm just going to dive straight into it. Can you tell us a bit about Zest Education and what you guys do and where you're based, etc.?
Yeah, so Zest Education's an award-winning supply teaching agency. We cover staff absences in schools and other provisions across Staffordshire and the wider West Midlands. We're actually based locally in the centre of Lichfield, just above the City Arcade. We also have a dedicated safeguarding and compliance office that's also on Ball Street as well. So we are very much centrally based in the city of Lichfield.
Heart of the community.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Fantastic. And just keeping it on the sort of LDC theme as well, you were a Beacon Awards winner last year, is that correct?
Yeah, so we won the Employer of the Year award at the Beacon Awards last year, and it was quite a surreal moment for us as a business, because in 2020 we didn't think we'd actually make it through the pandemic. So So to have any sort of recognition in the industry or even across the local area just 3 years after that was incredible, let alone winning the actual award. Delving into how we look after our staff, their growth, their development and their well-being. It was probably one of the proudest moments of my career and shows how far we've actually come as a business.
Oh, no, that's fantastic. It was a fantastic evening as well. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, and there was some sore heads on the Friday morning for sure.
I was going to say, it looked like you guys were having a lot of fun.
We did. We made sure we represented Zest in the best possible way.
No, you have to enjoy these moments, don't you?
Absolutely. Yeah, we really did. It was a real honour.
Fantastic. So let's talk proms. So before becoming the platinum sponsor, had you attended prior to sponsoring?
Yeah, I think the proms is probably the highlight of a lot of people, a lot of people's calendars in Lichfield, and certainly for us, it's a highlight for us. So being at the past events makes us know what a proud and special night it is for everybody. We've loved seeing it grow over the years, and then to then be part of the setup and sponsoring the proms for the last 3 years has been really special as well, because we've seen it just get even more spectacular year on year. So really, really excited for the 25th anniversary this year.
Yeah, so on the theme of the 25th anniversary, can you remember what was the first one you attended?
We attended, I think it was 2019. We've lived in Lichfield for nearly 10 years now, so knew that it was always a really special event, but it just tied into typically being on holiday the weekend that it fell. And then it was a shame, because the first year that we actually sponsored the event, we were also away. So last year, the first year as the platinum sponsor was incredible to see it from the front, and being part of it was really special.
So what was it that attracted you to sponsor Lichfield Proms in Beacon Park? Like, was it obviously, like you mentioned, like it's the highlight for a lot of people? So was there anything else that sort of you thought this is why there could be a partnership here between Zest and the proms?
I think being such big fans of the proms meant it was always something that we were keen to be part of if we could. Obviously working with schools and the staff within the education sector means that we are very community focused. We're always getting involved with helping schools in any way we can that we work with, being there for the staff that work for us as well. So I think sponsoring the proms was just a really proud moment with living in Lichfield myself, but also knowing that we're helping support such a popular local event that brings thousands of the local community together. And as I said, I'm just really, really looking forward to this year's event and seeing what surprises we've got in store for everybody.
Can you tell us what a usual proms night would look like for you at the team and Zest? And this isn't like a trick question, like the champagne's open sort of thing from early. Like what do you guys do as a team? Do you all come down, or is it?
Yeah, I think it's a really nice way to start an academic year for us. Obviously the 6 weeks holidays is busy in another way to when we're in the full swing of things during the term time. So we will always try and get together. We'll just celebrate the night and just really take in what it's all about and what we've helped, do across the event itself. I think this year we're making it very much an internal celebration, and we're going to head down as early as we can. Like say, get the bottles open and make a real night of it and enjoy it. I think I'm really looking forward to bringing a couple of the internal staff that have never actually attended the proms and showing them what it's all about and why so many thousands come to it every year, and hopefully just see it get bigger and better every single year.
Yeah, I do think about that actually, because I suppose with your office-based staff, I suppose not everyone is based in Lichfield, so might not actually be sure like how big Proms is for like Lichfield as a city.
Yeah, I think internally last year, especially when we became platinum sponsor for the first time, it was really nice to be educating the people that aren't Lichfield born and bred as to what and why it is so special. We had a couple of people come from the office who have been before and absolutely loved it, and we're really proud that we were involved. But then this year, as we've grown internally as a company ourselves, to be able to say that we're sponsoring it again and then be inviting people to come with us is something that I think everybody's talking about, especially the last couple of weeks as we get closer. People are genuinely really excited to see what's involved, and I think they'll be quite surprised at just how good a night it is.
Yeah, no, it's always a belter, isn't it? I mean, we're working it from our perspective. It always looks great fun down in the prime seating area. I mean, not just the prime seating area, but yeah, it looks like a good atmosphere. So, have you got a particular highlight from one of the years that you've attended? A year, maybe last year when you were platinum sponsor. Is there any moments that you just sort of like took yourself back and thought, "Well, we're really helping to support this"?
I think I had a moment last year where I think I stood up towards the end, just before the fireworks show, and I looked around and just seeing thousands of people waving flags, smiles on faces, and knowing what a good community spirit Lichfield has. It was just a really emotional moment, and then turning round and seeing the orchestra, then the fireworks going off. It is just a really special night of the year for so many people. And I think being involved with it as it was one thing, and then sponsoring it and looking round and knowing that we've helped put that on was a really, really genuinely emotional moment last year.
I think for the listeners, if you are umming and ahhing about coming along, I think that last 20 seconds is a reason why to come. I think you've summed that up perfectly there, Scott. No, that's fantastic. Yeah, so if you are umming and ahhing, just play that bit back and I'm sure you'll decide to come. So just to sort of round off then quickly, if residents did want to find out more about Zest Education, where can they find out more?
Yeah, so as I mentioned earlier, we cover not only Staffordshire but the wider West Midlands, working with all sorts of schools and alternative provisions, nurseries. So you could visit the website on www.zesteducation.co.uk. We are a walk-in office, so as I say, we're above City Arcade, accessible up the ramp between Connells and City Corner Cafe on Orr Street. Or you can give us a call on 01543 756 7796.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for your time, Scott, and looking forward to seeing you on Saturday the 7th.
Pleasure. Looking forward to be involved again, and I can't wait.
And that's it for this episode of Voices of Lichfield District. I want to say thanks to our amazing guests, Lou, Danny and Scott. Your insights and stories about Lichfield Proms in Beacon Park have built the anticipation for the beloved event. For all our listeners out there, make sure to mark your calendars for Saturday the 7th of September, as you won't want to miss out on the magic of the Lichfield Proms in Beacon Park. It promises to be an unforgettable evening filled with music, joy and community spirit. Thank you once again to Lou, Danny, Scott and all our listeners for joining us today. See you soon.